Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm Stephanie Gay, the founder of Archbellyoga, and I really wanted to make a small series of videos around meditation and possibly the benefits of meditation and how you can kind of get started. So I know some people really do ask me a lot about meditation, and I meditate every day now, but it never used to be that easy, and I certainly never used to do that. I used to have this idea that meditation was a very specific thing. So I'd quite like to just share my experience with you and some of the things that I think you should know that will enable you to get past any blocks that you might have with meditation. So you've been thinking about meditating, and I assume that because you were watching this video. So the first thing really to understand about meditation is that there's lots of different techniques, but you have to start somewhere. So the first thing to know is it's to do it. Like, actually get out of your head that you need to have a perfect space and you need to have a set time of day that you need to do it, and just actually do it. So stop thinking about all the reasons why you can't do it or all the things that need to be perfect in order to do it, and actually just get on with it. Just have a go, because you're never going to be any good at meditation and you're never going to have the benefits in your life if you don't actually have a go. So that's the very first thing that you need to know. The other thing that I think gets lost in translation a lot with meditation is this idea that we need to clear the mind. Now, eventually, if you practice long enough, you may have moments or come to a point where your meditation becomes really silent in the mind, and the mind just knows, hang on a second, now it's time to be quiet. But it certainly doesn't start off like that, especially not if you have a mind that's like mine, that's always constantly going, always constantly thinking about what's the next thing to do, what's my to-do list, where am I, and even when it doesn't have a to-do list, it's still thinking about the conversation it had 2 hours ago. So the idea that you'll be able to sit down and stop thinking about everything is pretty impossible, to be fair. So the one thing I'll say is, when you start to meditate, when you begin, just acknowledge that the mind is busy. Acknowledge what thoughts are coming through, and what you'll often find is the mind will wander off, and then you'll notice that it's wandered off, and you'll probably want to tell yourself off a little bit, like, oh, why is my mind thinking about that right now? I'm supposed to be meditating. Don't do that. Just be kind to yourself and just be kind to the mind, and just say, hey, I know you want to think about that, but we'll do it when we finish. So that's the other thing that I really want you to know, this idea that we clear the mind. Really, meditation for me, and you'll probably find lots of definitions of it out there, but really meditation for me is much more about taking space out of our busy day, taking space out of our busy life and all the things that are expected of us, and simply taking time to notice, check in, turn inwards, and giving the brain space almost like to contemplate and notice what's going on. Because often through the day we'll have a lot of thoughts and we just don't actually notice that we're having those thoughts. And if when you meditate all you can do is hear the thoughts in your head, then that to me is a very great meditation, because all of a sudden you're actually noticing what you're thinking. So yeah, that is my definition of meditation. Meditation for me is just simply you sitting down somewhere quiet and checking in and taking that time to really notice. And the other thing that's really important to know is that meditation is a skill. Our mind is a muscle just like the rest of our body. And you would never walk into a gym after never picking up weights ever and try to lift like 20 kilograms. You probably is not going to do that, because you're going to hurt yourself and probably couldn't do it. But you'd also know in your mind that you can't do it because you haven't trained to do it. And the mind is no different. You can't expect to sit down after never meditating before and spend 20 minutes meditating. That's really difficult. And if you're a very busy person and you're used to being on the go all the time and you never really sit down and you never finish a cup of tea, which is basically me sometimes, then you can't expect to sit down and meditate for 20 minutes straight off the belt without no distractions, and it is difficult. So my advice would be to always start small. Just give yourself a few minutes to sit in silence. Like, turn off the music, put your phone on airplane mode or silent mode, and set a timer even, so that you're not like thinking, how long have I been sat here? Because to be honest, when you first start, a minute can seem like an entire lifetime. The body's going to want to move, and you're going to want to itch your nose, or like wiggle the ear, or like flip the hair behind you. You're going to start noticing all these little things that the body wants to do, and then the mind's going to start thinking about, oh, I forgot to tell my friend this, or I forgot to do that at work, or I must add that to my shopping list. Excuse me. Yeah, that is exactly what's going to happen the minute you close down your eyes. So put a timer on the phone and start really small and build it up. So if you can meditate for a minute, then 2 minutes, then 3 minutes, then 4 minutes, then 5 minutes, and build it up, and try to be fairly consistent with your practice. Although, don't beat yourself up if you don't manage to get it in one day. And yeah, so simply, those are the kind of 3 things that I think are the most important things to know about meditation. So first, you've actually got to do it. You've actually got to like make your mind up that you're going to sit down and meditate. And there are moving meditations as well, but I'm really talking about a meditation where we sit still and we encourage the body to be really quiet, so that we can focus more in on what's going on in the head and the mind and find that space. Second off, forget this idea that your mind needs to be quiet, because the more you think about focusing on the mind being quiet, the more louder the mind's probably is going to get. It's like a naughty child, really. So the focus is on actually just being present with whatever's coming through, including the thoughts, noticing them. And the third one is, remember that this is a skill. This is a skill that you've got to build up. You're not going to be good at it, if there's ever such a thing, straight away. And I would actually say you're already good at meditation if you sit down and do it. So look out for the other videos coming along that I'll just talk you through a few simple meditations that you can try, because that's really what you need to do. You need to try and find something that works for you, but stick at it. Don't do it 2 or 3 times and then think, oh, nah, I'm not doing it. You really need to give it a go, but give it a go for a reasonable amount of time. Don't just give up on it because it didn't work straight away. I feel like as a society, we're very good at that these days. Like, we want to be perfect at everything really quickly. And perfection is no such thing. That's a whole other YouTube video. And second off, actually, let's just stick at something and keep going until we find the benefit that we were looking for, essentially. Okay, and yes, happy meditating. If you enjoy the video, let me know. If any thoughts come through or you want to share any experiences, also drop me a message or pop a comment on and just let me know how you're getting on. And I'm going to send you so much love on your meditative journey. And it's something that I really love. And I will share with you just before I go, actually, that when I first started meditating, it was technically at the end of yoga, so more in shavasana tended to be where we meditated the most, and this like relaxation pose. Honestly, as soon as I closed my eyes, every thought in the world would pop into my head, things that I hadn't thought about forever, the things that I'd forgot to say during the day, the things that I forgot to do, the things that I needed to do as soon as I got home. And honestly, that took a really, really long time to stop. And even now, I'll have days when I can be really quiet and still in my body. And then days when I'll open my eyes and be checking how long I've got left on the timer. And I give it a little wiggle and am I still meditating? Like, why is this taking forever? So yeah, just be with whatever it feels like, whatever comes through, just notice it and really enjoy it. And thank you so much for listening and watching. Mwah.